Hi, my name is Andy Larson, and I am a melanoma lung cancer patient, and was that from about April 2024 till about November 2024. And Dr. Minkoff was my doctor. And I want to tell you a little bit about how the whole thing unfolded, how I came here. It's kind of interesting because I was diagnosed with cancer with a PET scan that I had in February 2024 and was told at the time. I was referred by my lung doctor to go see an oncologist named Dr. Miranda at the Cancer Institute, which I did after I got the PET scan. And the PET scan showed that I had cancer. And then I had a biopsy, and the biopsy confirmed it was melanoma, which is I had an unusual form of cancer that was very aggressive and hard to get rid of. And some people said to me, well, you're going to live about 5 or 6 months, because that's what this cancer is known for, because it doesn't start in the lungs. And that's why it ended up being a stage 4 lung cancer, which I didn't know anything about other than the fact that people scared me with the, I'll just say, attitude that I would be dead in 5 to 6 months. So when I went to the Cancer Institute, where Dr. Miranda, the oncologist, was, it was like the land of the living dead is the best way I can explain it, because there were so many people there, and I felt so bad for them because I felt great. Other than the fact that people told me I had lung cancer, I didn't feel like I had lung cancer, but the PET scan said I had lung cancer. The biopsy said I had lung cancer. So, okay, I have lung cancer. So I had a decision to make, because I was under some kind of pressure to make a decision to do something relatively quickly because of the nature of the cancer. And I talked to my sister, who, like me, has an open-ended attitude and doesn't really believe in allopathic medicine so much as naturopathic medicine. And so I talked to her on the phone, and she said, well, we've got to get vitamin C in you. And I agreed with that, and I couldn't ingest it. So she said, you've got enough on your mind. Let me call you back. This was a Sunday night. And on Monday morning, she called me back. She says, well, I've got 2 places. One of them is really close to you. It's only about 20 minutes away. It's called the LifeWorks Wellness Center. And you can get liquid vitamin C there. So she told me the other place, which is about maybe an hour away, and I decided to come here. So I decided not to call. I decided just to come here. So, crazy guy that I am, I just walked in, and I didn't introduce myself. I just walked up to the reception and said, I'm here because I want to get liquid vitamin C. And she said, no. That's not the way we do things here. And she said, tell me a little bit about your background. So I told her, I've been diagnosed with lung melanoma, and I don't want to go the allopathic route. I want to go the naturopathic route. And she said, okay, stop right there. I want you to say that to a nurse on the phone. So I walked over to the nurse on the phone and told her. And then she said to me, okay, can you be here tomorrow at 4:00 to talk to Dr. Minkoff? And I said, sure. And she said, but tonight you have to fill out a bunch of forms to fill out some things. And I did. And it took a few hours, but I did it. And the next day I came back in here, and here's I think the most important thing that was going through my mind. When I was here, it wasn't like the land of the living dead. It was totally different. And I actually talked to a couple of people while I was waiting in the reception area. And I thought it was kind of funny, because instead of the land of the living dead, like I had experienced at the cancer center, this was so different. People were upbeat, and it wasn't, they all were cancer patients. They were here because of a variety of things, but they all were very, I'll say, positive. And so that had a big effect on me. And when I talked to Dr. Minkoff, that was huge, because in the end, he gave me an education, even in the short time that I met him at 4:00 that day, that Monday morning. And so I decided, based on Dr. Minkoff and my experience with him, as well as my experience with the people in the reception area, it's just the whole environment, that I wanted to go the naturopathic route, even though I knew it was much more expensive and it wouldn't be covered by insurance, because that much I had all understood when I was walking in. And I was here for 6 or 7 months, and I had all sorts of things Monday through Friday. And the big thing for me out of all this was, and Dr. Minkoff and I talked about this. I wanted, and I knew a long time ago, if I ever got cancer, I did not want to go surgery, chemo, radiation, which are the big three for allopathic medicine, because they tear you down. And people don't die of cancer. Even I knew that. They die of something else because their immune system gets so destroyed that they can't fight off the flu or common cold or whatever. So in talking to Dr. Minkoff, I said, look, I want to build my body up. I want to fight the cancer, but I want to do it by building my body up and not tearing my body down. And he was all for that. So everything I did, and I'm saying I did a lot of things, and they were eye-opening things. First time I've ever done a hyperbaric chamber, pulsating electromagnetic frequency. That was all new to me, but all of them never tore me down. I kept working out every day. You couldn't look at me. I look the same as I do now, and you couldn't look at me and say, he's got stage 4 lung cancer, because the lesions, Dr. Minkoff told me I was lucky because the lesions were mostly on the outside of my lungs, and they didn't interfere with my breathing mechanism yet. So I played disc golf, I worked out, I did all the things I normally do. However, in the 3 PET scans that I had during the time I was under his care, it showed that the cancer was growing. It hadn't metastasized to other parts of my body, but it was growing. And finally, in October, I had my last PET scan. In November, I talked to Dr. Minkoff, and Dr. Minkoff said to me, and this was the part that really, I'll say it floored me, but it didn't knock me over, because I'm so positive about everything in life that I'm totally unrealistic, really, about things. But he said, look, the cancer is growing. It's in your lungs and it's growing. It hasn't gone to other parts of your body yet. And I want you to go to your oncologist and see what he says, because what I'm doing clearly isn't killing the cancer. So I then went back, and I was so blown away, because he could have told me, no, we're working on it. We're still doing it. And I would have just followed his lead, but he was honest with me. So I went back to the oncologist and starting, that was in December of 2024. And I'll never forget him saying to me, well, we can't kill the cancer. All we can do is manage it. So I said, well, okay, whatever you want to call it. I just want to get rid of it. So he said, we'll start with what's called immunotherapy, because I really didn't qualify for surgery or chemo, wouldn't work on the kind of cancer I had. And radiation, I saw a radiologist, and she said, if I killed the cancer, I'd kill you, because you've got so much of it in your lungs. You've got so many spots. So I started immunotherapy, and I had my first PET scan in April, and it showed I had no cancer. I just had my last one about a month ago, and it showed I was getting, it was even a better PET scan. Dr. Miranda, my oncologist, told me that. So in the meantime, I will also tell you that in December, when I talked to the oncologist, he said to me, I don't want you to do anything else other than immunotherapy. And I said, and again, I'm going back now in my mind's eye as I'm talking to him about all the things I've done while I'm here. Can I do ozone? No. Can I do vitamin C drip? No. Can I do light therapy? No. Can I do PEMF, which is, again, pulsating electromagnetic frequency? No. You can't do any of that stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, and I asked him, why? And he said, well, because there's not enough research to show that any of those things will interfere with what I'm about to do with you. So I made my mind up at that time. All the things I learned at LifeWorks through Minkoff, I was going to do at home. At the same time, I was getting the immunotherapy, but I never told my doctor. He still doesn't know that I've done all this. And in addition to all that, and again, I will tell you, I bought a sauna. So I did ozone saunas, which I did at LifeWorks, and I learned it from Minkoff. And there's another thing. These are small things, but these are huge when it comes to LifeWorks. I have something called MTHFR, which a lot of people have but don't know they have. And I didn't know I had it until I had a blood work done. And I was told by Minkoff, well, we got to get this taken care of. And so there's something called methylation that happens to your body. And again, these are all things that I learned when I was at LifeWorks. And I'm telling you all this because the difference between LifeWorks and the Cancer Institute, according to my assessment, not just the life of the living dead versus the life of the living, is again my overall viewpoint of these two. There are things that Minkoff taught me, things to do to my body, as well as just lifestyle things that people should know about. None of those things are dealt with at all. I'll say at the Cancer Institute. They should be, but they aren't. And again, I'm not here to blast anybody or throw anybody under the bus, because you're looking at somebody who's so far had 2 really good PET scans and was told I had 5 months to live, and yet here I am, right? So cancer may come back. I'm not throwing it under the bus, but I'm just saying to anybody who's willing to listen and come to LifeWorks to give it a chance, do it, because it's a huge difference. And again, you could put a gun to my head and say, okay, Andy, what got rid of your cancer? And I couldn't tell you. Honestly, I couldn't say it's the immunotherapy. I couldn't say it's the PEMF, which is pulsating electromagnetic frequency. I couldn't say it's the hyperbaric chamber. I couldn't say any of that's true. I will also tell you that all the time that I've had cancer, I'm in a couple different networks, and I'm Christian, so I believe in Jesus Christ. And I had a lot of people praying for me. And prayer is a huge antidote. And there's a lot of people praying for me. So I couldn't tell you, was it the prayer? Was it the immunotherapy? Was it the PEMF? Was it ozone? Was it vitamin C drip? I think it was all of those things. And the big deal with me is attitude. Because I think, and again, I'm somewhat unrealistic, I think, about all of this, because I think I'm going to be okay no matter what. And I really do believe that. And I think what you believe actually can be achieved. And that's part of what wellness, the LifeWorks Wellness Center does for you as an individual. And that's why it's such a different environment, all told. So I've talked a lot and I've shared a lot, but I hope you get something out of this. And if you have any hesitation, just come to LifeWorks and talk to people, because then you'll know. Then you'll know. Thanks.